as soon as the bell rings at school, 2:30, Halloween is officially on. I have major plans for the weekend. For the whole weekend. First, me and my friends are going to ask my mom if they could stay over the whole entire weekend and decorate my clubhouse. Spooky, orange, purple, Halloween stuff. And go trick-or-treating. Here's the big thing. If I can just convince my mom. My dad, he's chill. My mom, she freaks out a lot. So, I gotta get through her to do it. So here's the big thing. Trick-or-treating alone without my parents. After all, I am 12. I'm not a baby. After school, we met up at the Five and Dime store. Where you got candy and all that. That's our favorite, so we got a big old thing of candy. We have to have candy to decorate. And go to my house. Along the way, I tried to play it out in my head and my friends, saying, does this sound right? Go over the whole detail to my mom. Try to make it more convincing, because I am older. I shouldn't have to convince anybody. But anyway, we played in leaves. We threw leaves at each other, of course some rocks. We smashed a rotten pumpkin, which smelled so horrible and stuck to our shoes. So how can we go home with smashed pumpkins on our shoes and try to convince my mom, right? So we had to act like we were Michael Jackson and walk backwards like the moonwalk. Which really we didn't do very good, but it's okay. So we come up with some brilliant plan. We get to my house and ask my mom and my dad. My mom was okay with the whole weekend thing, but a little freaked out about going out by ourselves trick-or-treating. Dad, he laid it all out. He's just laid back. He said yes, that was fine with him. And then he started spewing some memories from when he was a kid. And, of course, rolled our eyes and really didn't hear much, just seeing his mouth, flutter. He nodded his head and talked to my mom into it. Now on with Tommy's turn to talk to his mom. Since my parents said yes, his parents would too. I just know it. And I knew it. I was right. The only thing she said was a half-hour speech she gave him about all the rules and everything, and don't accept this from this person, and do this, and don't eat the candy until you get there for his parents to check it all out, blah blah. We agreed. And now it's Jason's turn. We were kind of hesitant because his mom never really liked Halloween, the old superstitious stuff, so I didn't know how well she would go with it. So we sat quietly. It felt like a whole year. She just gave him a speech. I didn't hear any of it except for, no, I'm afraid you're going out by yourself. It's a wicked night and blah, blah, blah. So we said, is he allowed to stay over just until tomorrow? And she agreed. So we hurried up and grabbed our costumes because we wanted to make the most of the night as we could. So we got our costumes, grabbed our decorations that my mom went to the dollar store for, and headed to the clubhouse. We got our costumes on, and right away we started with all the decorations. It looked sick. It was awesome. So then we sat down, and we turned on, and I don't know why we did it, but we did. We turned on a scary movie, which was just plain old stupid. Because we was totally scared, but kept watching and afraid to admit to each other that we were scared, but we already knew. We didn't have to say it. Jason said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Stop it. You're being lame." Then again, he started watching the movie, and all of a sudden he looked up and said, "I'm serious, I hear something." I laughed, and I said, "Okay." Just as I said, "Okay," my dad burst through the door, and we screamed really loud and jumped, about ran out of our skin. My dad said, Mom said come inside and eat. And then he laughed. He said, watching scary movies, huh? I said, yes, you caught us. He said, don't let your mom know you was scared or she'll rethink letting you go by yourself. The next morning, Jason had to go home. His mom picked him up, so me and Tommy stayed in and played video games just to buy the time. And we rode a bike or two, but then it just got boring. Seeing little 3-year-olds going trick-or-treating. The bigger kids go at night. And that's us. So it finally got night. We dressed up. We was kind of creeped out a little bit as we were going down. We can hear the leaves. We looked up. You can hear the owls. You can hear people screaming, yelling, having a good time. You can hear the scary music. Fog. It was a little bit raining. But we wanted to be grown up, so we kept on going. And what do you know? Jason runs up behind us and taps us on the shoulder. Tony says, nice costume. What did you do? Steal your mom's sheet? Jason said, okay. I just looked at Tommy. I felt like maybe he could afford a costume. I said, so I didn't say that out loud. It was just in my head. I said, okay, Tommy. It's alright. So I looked at Jason. I said, what changed your mind? Your mom's mind? Yeah, just playing around. Jason said, not sure. In a deep voice, kind of like. And I thought, wow, okay. He's going through the change. Strange thing about the whole night. Jason really didn't speak much. And everybody kept saying, awesome costume. Tommy looked at me and said, it's just a sheet with 2 words. I said, be nice, don't do that. Even though it was in the back of my mind, but I thought maybe that's all you do with work. But then he said he had a costume his mom bought him. I don't know, the whole thing is strange. But anyway, he runs up to the spooky house, which was really cool because almost the whole night, nobody was really spooky. The houses wasn't that real spooky-ish, but this one was. So I was excited to go up there. They had their whole garage decked out, and it looked awesome. And then we get up there, and the guy kept saying, awesome effects on the costume, man, that was awesome. And I didn't think nothing of it. Neither did Tommy. We just shrugged our shoulders like, okay. So an hour goes by. Our bags are getting very heavy. And it's starting to rain a little harder. And I'm not gonna lie, it's getting a little chilly. And I do sound like a girl. Acting like I'm complaining all the time, but I'm not. I asked everybody to go back to my house and look at all the candy that we got and what we didn't want we could exchange. And Tommy looks over and says, and if you want it, I might end up taking it anyway. That's just how Tommy was. He really didn't do that. He was just on mouth. But anyway, we get back to my house. And we had to check in with my mom. You know how that is. Like the warden. We have to check in. Grab some cookies because she made cookies for us. And then we head to the clubhouse. It was all lit up. And then we started looking at our candy. The strange thing is, though, this whole night was strange, but this is strange. Jason stays off to himself a little bit. They asked him to come over closer so we can all look at each other's candy. So we said, well, maybe you don't want to mix it up. Again, Jason, nothing come out of his mouth. He just looked over at us. I said, okay, Stingy, hold it to yourself then. We are exchanging over the chocolate. But Jason didn't care. He just looked like, okay, take it. That's not him, I looked over at Tommy. I kind of whispered. I said, maybe he's being in the dumps because him and his mom got into a fight or something. I said, let's just be a little nice to him. So we decided to change candy back and forth with each other instead. And Jason just sitting there. After we exchanged candy, we took our costumes off. And we went over and said, "Why are you taking yours off, Jason?" He stands up. And we kind of tug at his costume and say, "Come on, take your costume off." And he says in a really deep voice, "Get off." And then he stands up and moves backwards in the corner where it's not so lit. You know, like you can see the shadow of him. I say, "Chill, man. It's not a big deal." And Jason says, "He's big and creepy." And just as he said that, just chills go up and down my spine when I even think of hearing it. And my mom starts yelling. She says,
"Jason's here." And I turn around and look at Tommy slowly. He looks at me.
We didn't believe it, so we crawl across the floor to look. Here comes Jason. And he does have a store-bought costume on. Jason, of course, to match his name. Now that's the Jason we know. Quirky, weird, but funny and nice at the same time. But what really got us was we were scared to death. Who was under that ghost outfit? He nods his head and laughs, real creepy. Very evil, bone-chilling. I look down and there is no feet. I say run. We get out of there. We climb down the treehouse, not looking back. I don't even think our feet was on the grass as we ran. But I can tell you one thing. We never stepped foot back into that treehouse. I don't know if anything ate the candy up there, but I wasn't going back.